Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron.
We're Neverboard Gaming, and today we're taking a look at Maximum Apocalypse by Rock Manor Games on Kickstarter.
Maximum Apocalypse is a 2 to 4 player game, fully cooperative. So it means you could play it one player if you really wanted to.
Technically you could.
But I think it plays well with 2-3 players.
I do think it definitely benefits from having more players.
Yeah.
It especially like the Surgeon deck I played last time, he's very much a support character. And there's like the Molotov cocktail and there's cards that have effects until your next turn that definitely benefit from having more people at the table.
Yeah.
But if there's more people, you're making more rolls for not zombies. It's not just a zombie game. There are zombies, but it's more than zombies. You don't have to play with any zombies.
Yeah, you can play against mutants or aliens.
But you start everyone's turn by rolling the die and seeing where the monsters appear. So if you're playing with more people, you're going to have more monsters.
Yeah. But then you're really going to need that support character to help everyone heal and help everyone get more actions and things.
Side note, everything you see here is a prototype, so don't judge the game just based on what the components we have.
This game reminds me of Forbidden Island and the fact that all the tiles start face down. You can only move like one space at a time. You're revealing the tiles. Mm-hmm. The fact that it's cooperative. If you've played Forbidden Island or Forbidden Desert and you want to ramp it up to even more difficulty, this would be the next step, because now you're, collecting cards, and I ended up with this huge hand of cards, and you're like, you're trying to figure out, when to use your ammo, when to use your weapons, and all your actions and things to kill off monsters. So it definitely adds a level of difficulty that those other games can be lacking.
I really like the thematics with that. That every game you have a mission, but there's always a side mission that you have to gas up your van. So when you start the mission, you park your van anywhere you want on the board, and there's default, you have to find gas. So there's a mission, and you need gas. And beyond that, you always have to find food, because every turn your starvation die gets you get hungrier and hungrier until you get food and you can feed. And if you don't eat, you start starving, and the longer you starve, the more damage you take for starving. So I appreciate the thematics of you have to, there's a mission you have to accomplish, but you also need gas for your van, you need gas for your bodies, the food, and so there's a bunch of things you're thinking about. I could go here and rescue that guy, but wait, my die's already on 6. If I don't get food right now, I'm going to starve, so how am I going to get food? Do you have food? Can I come to you and get food? There's monsters between us. I can't come to you and get food and not fight these monsters, so I'm going to try to search, and hopefully I find food. I found gas, that's great, but I don't have food, so now I'm going to take hunger damage.
Yeah. It could get a little overwhelming for a newer player, so you definitely want to have some other games under your belt before you jump into this game. But not to say that a newer player couldn't play this, because the mechanics are fairly simple. It would just take you a little while longer to get through a mission, and you're not limited on time or anything. You're actually limited on your personal decks. Whenever they run out is when you...
Or your health.
Yeah.
As far as introducing this game to new players, because it's fully cooperative, there's no point structure, there's no, it's co-op, but I still win because I did the most stuff. There's none of that. It's fully co-op, you all win or you all die. So because of that, if there is one player who's brand new to gaming, that's okay, because you're fine to help them. If you want to play, instead of having a hand, have all your cards on the table and you can give them advice and suggestions, that's fine. Kind of like the way Pandemic is, that
absolutely,
you may want to have some experience yourself before you introduce it to a new player, but there's nothing wrong with bringing in a brand new gamer to this game if you're able to help them. So the premise of this game is based on a campaign guide. And it's one of those games that you can just pick a random mission and do it, or you can do it chronologically. And they don't really tie together, but if you want to work through as a cohesive story, you can. You're just driving your van to different places, trying to complete different things. And I think we did see there's an overarching story. You're trying to collect people and figure out clues, and eventually there's aliens that attack like crazy. Didn't see that coming. It'd be really easy to expand this game. That even, it'd be great if they had an expansion with a new monster deck or a new character or new location tiles. But if they didn't have that, they could even just have online. You can go on and download more stories to play with different combinations of things in your item decks and things in your location deck, because before every mission, you build your monster deck, you build your location deck with all these cards, you build your 3 different item decks, so there's different items in different colors. So there is a lot of variability in the gameplay that way.
Exactly. There's just tons and tons of combinations of building these decks. So even like after you've like you look at the guide and it says, oh, you need 1 hospital, 2 gas stations, 2 tunnels, etc., etc. After you've mixed those all together, you still have to lay them out onto the board. And if you played it a couple times, you're like, okay, let's not just do a straight grid. Let's do a grid with a couple holes in the middle to make it even harder.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's a lot of flexibility in the way you set up your map, but you don't know what you're setting up there. You're like, well, I could have just put a bunch of bandit camps right next to the start.
Which we did. We set the map with a hole in it, and on one side of the hole, there's like 2 bandit camps right beside each other, which those are bad. You don't want to go there. The other side, it was this open field that had like 8 monsters on it. So like, either way we went, we're screwed. And we had to try to find the other end of the tunnel so we could circumvent all of that. Yeah. It was nonsense.
I do like the way that you mix the item decks before, because it's like, okay, you're going to put 1 food item in this one and 3 food items in this one, and then in the last deck you're going to put 4 food items. But each of those food items has different values. So, you could, when you're shuffling up, you're like, okay, you put 1 here, 3 here, and you could put a 5 value food in one of them, but you don't really know that. In Dead of Winter, you can kind of like memorize what food values or what.
Well, it says on the board too, like, oh, if you go here, like the hospital has food and medical supplies. Yeah. The police station has like weapons and equipment.
You can't memorize it. You can't go, oh, I know at the grocery store there's just tons of food. It's like, well, you got to find a space that you can even search that deck. And when you search that deck, you don't know how much food is actually there. You're like, there's 1 food card in there, but it could just be 1 food. It could be 10 food. Going back to thematics, I've also enjoyed the fact that you had ammo that limits like how many times you can shoot your gun. So you could shoot a couple times, like, oh, I gotta reload. So you have to find more ammo in the item text, and then, okay, I'm gonna reload, and this gives me, 4 more bullets. So you reload it. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun.
I did think that the different character decks were built really well. You and me played the gunslinger and the surgeon, which the surgeon, he doesn't do a lot of damage. Like, he had that one drill that was awesome. You could just, I think this was a bone drill or something. It just did 3 damage. But the surgeon he did a lot of health, obviously.
And he could give me a lot of extra actions.
Yeah, and he did a lot of boosts. He had a lot of, like, adrenaline all right, play 2 cards, do 2 extra actions. Where the gunslinger, he just had a bunch of guns and just, like...
Mega damage. The hollow points, loading up a gun with hollow points and doing extra 2 damage was insane.
Yeah. And then there's the hunter, who she did a lot of, like, stealth kills. She had, like, a bow and arrow and a lot of stuff like that, where she did a lot of long range and could stealth really easy. And the fireman was kind of a really beefy, close range, just, like, had a lot of axes and stuff and touched tons of health and just kind of mowed through people. So they did build a lot of thematics in the decks. I'd love to see them add more decks to the game with stretch goals and expansions and awesome stuff.
That way, depending on what your playstyle is, you have a character that fits that. If you want to be long range, shooting, the zombies that are around the firefighter, he's like, oh, bring them all out over here, and then you're just, sniping them off. Or you could just be the guy that just, stealthily runs around and picks up the items to help.
Which works with the game, because you can try to stealth past zombies, or you can skip your stealth check and just say, all right, there's 5 zombies here. I'm going to take 3 and try to stealth past the other 2, such that you can, like, draw the zombies away from another player.
I feel that this game is great for anyone who is looking for that next step in cooperative gaming. It gives you a lot of randomness, so lots of replayability. It gives you, in itself, you can scale the difficulty just by, the way you set up your map. So if you played through Forbidden Desert or Forbidden Island or any other, Pandemic or something, and you're like, I want something a little different, a little harder, this would be something you could look for.
I definitely think this is a great game for non-competitive gamers, because it's a co-op with no point system. The co-ops with point systems are almost counterintuitive. Like, we're playing as a team, but I still want to do better than you. Like, it is a fully teamwork-based game. You can just set up and say, me and Jen are playing this game. And it's a great game. You win or lose as a team. It's a game that, you read the rules, and if you mess up, it's not a big deal, because it's all a team game. You're trying to beat a puzzle. You're trying to beat the board. So no one's going to be super grouchy or pissed if, like, oh, wait, I messed up this rule. We were playing the last game, and I was supposed to draw the boss card when someone entered the police station the first time. And it took like our 4th time going to the police station before everyone was like, isn't there a boss card around here somewhere? And like, we made it up and just kept going.
We still killed him before we rescued the guy that we were supposed to rescue and before we escaped. So it's not like we just like went around it and didn't do what we were supposed to do. We just kind of, I didn't see the boss. We just kind of snuck in.
Yeah, it makes a great casual game. Good for families, good for people. If you're like a couple and you don't want to be competitive, you're looking for another game just to play and relax and have fun together, this game is excellent. The thematics are there in the decks and the monsters you fight. There's a lot of variability in how you set up the game and what's in these decks and what type of monsters. You're like, oh, do you want to fight mutants or do you want to fight zombies? Do you want to fight aliens? Or just who knows how many different things they're going to put in here. I don't know there's werewolves, but there might be. Why not? There's no reason you couldn't have any of that. Just think, any apocalypse scenario could fit into this game. This is the maximum apocalypse.
So, if you're watching this on YouTube and this sounds like a game you're interested in, click the link below.
Or the eye right up here.
And that'll bring you to the Kickstarter page. And if you're already on Kickstarter,
the back button is also up there. Not in the video, but up on the page further. It's up there. It's green. There's options.
Do it.
If you do have any questions, you could put them in the comments on our YouTube channel. We'll try to help you answer them. If not, there's a comment section on the Kickstarter page as well. Either way, subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll never be bored.
Maximum apocalypse. I can't even say that word.
It's a hard word to say. Maximum apocalypse.